Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. It is Megan here, the Healing Foods Coach. I hope you're all doing well. I'm actually doing quite well. It is Saturday, the 30th of November, and thank you for taking time out of your busy days to watch this video and support me as I make this content. I really, really do appreciate it. So, if you're new here, if this is your first time visiting and checking out my videos, thank you and welcome. And if this is not your first time and you're coming back again, thank you so much and welcome back. So I decided to call today's topic Movement, Mindfulness, and Menopause. Now, I realize that there's a number of you that are not in that stage of life, and so this may not apply at the moment. But there are many of you who are going through this. And honestly, I figured this is what I'm going through. And so I'm going to share some of the stuff that I found challenging because I would imagine I'm not the only one who is going through menopause right now or who has been through it. Hopefully what I share you can relate to, or you may find it useful information for those people you do know that you care about who are going through this time of life. So the first thing I wanted to just talk about is movement. What do I mean by that? Okay, so as you all probably will know, if you've watched any of my previous videos, I started back in the workforce 3 weeks ago. Yay! Which is amazing and a blessing because I'd been unable to work due to physical disabilities for 8 years. I could not work because of what I was previously dealing with. Spinal disc injury followed by fibromyalgia and brain fog and loads of pain medication and other things I was taking that made it impossible for me to be able to work. Couldn't concentrate, had to stop driving, the whole bit. And for those of you who may not know, I was actually in a wheelchair for almost 9 years. Now, I'm luckily able to be in a place where I can say, you know what, whilst I still have fibromyalgia, my symptoms have been in remission. My brain fog has dissipated. I do not have it. I'm not filled with brain fog. I do not have constant pain throughout my body as far as from the fibromyalgia. I do have low-grade lower back pain, which I've had since I was a child, but that is a separate thing. I have issues with my SI joint, your sacroiliac joint, which is the joint that attaches your pelvic bone to the base of your spine. And in my case, I have joint dysfunction, which means that area is constantly irritated and inflamed, and will likely be that way forever. So I just get on with life. So there's a low-grade kind of achiness, but not the debilitating pain that I used to have when my fibromyalgia was in full flare-up mode. Thankfully, I'm super grateful for that. And I'm sharing that because those particular fibro symptoms have healed. And those have only healed since I have gone on a zero carb diet, since I've been a carnivore, which is now almost 4.5 years ago. And I've never felt better. My thyroid is now functioning at appropriate levels instead of underperforming. So that means all the things that are signaled by my thyroid are functioning properly as well, such as the sex hormones, as well as things like metabolism and digestion. I have been relieved of the IBS symptoms I used to have that were horrible. The IBS itself, my gut seems to have healed because I've eliminated all the foods that were problems for me, got rid of all the processed garbage, got rid of all the sugar, got rid of all the carbohydrates in whatever form they came in, whether they were processed or whole foods. So all the plant materials, etc. Took them out of my diet and the seed oils. I feel fantastic. Okay. Now, not to say that I don't ever feel tired sometimes, not to say that I don't sometimes get achy or sore. Those things will still happen even on this carnivorous species appropriate human appropriate diet. Okay. which for me is strictly animal sources of animal fat and protein. That's it. So eggs, or rather egg yolks, all kinds of different meat sources. When I say meat, by the way, I don't mean just beef. That can include lamb, that can include pork, poultry, fish, seafood, as well as milk and dairy products because they come from an animal, as long as you tolerate them. Now, turns out I'm lactose intolerant, so I avoid those things. But for those of you who can have it, feel free. I do not do well with any plants in my diet. They cause me instant bloating and gas, discomfort, constipation. In other words, the symptoms of IBS, which I was diagnosed with back in 2007. So I don't eat any plants of any kind, period. I've also eliminated caffeine because of my IBS, not because I don't like it. I enjoyed it. I miss it at times. But I don't keep that in my diet again because of my IBS. And that's been since July. So I've gotten rid of all of the things that were causing me issues from my diet, and that's made a huge difference. So for those of you who may not know my full story, May of 2020, I was 100 pounds overweight, which is about 45 kilos overweight. I was definitely on the obese side of things. I had fatty liver disease. I had early stage chronic kidney disease. It was at that time, it had just headed from into stage 2, which is mild, but I tell you, if I hadn't got on top of things, it would have progressed. I have no doubt. I was also dealing with, of course, the fibromyalgia and the chronic pain and the brain fog and underactive thyroid. I was also dealing with severe anxiety and depression and bulimia, and those are all the things I can remember off the top of my head. In other words, there was a lot of stuff that I was dealing with at the same time in that moment. And I realized one of the things that I could do to help myself was to try to lose a bit of weight. Found keto and then carnivore, and I've never looked back, and I never regretted it. And gradually, little by little, over the years, I started to very, very slowly get some of my mobility back. I've not needed my wheelchair now for over a year. I was up until I started back into full-time work 3 weeks ago. I was walking a couple of miles every day, walking the dogs, moving as much as I could. Now, why do I share that? Because what I forgot is the challenge it is if you're somebody who is used to finally getting the ability to move back, in my case, or you're just someone who likes to be outdoors, and maybe you have a routine where you get up early in the morning and maybe you take a walk or you go for a run. If you have pets, you might walk them first thing in the morning before you get yourself off to your work day. Whatever you may be doing, whether you go into an office like I do now, whether you work from home, which is also what quite a few people do these days. I was starting to panic because all of the walking I was able to do, because my days were open, because I wasn't in a work environment, I could go out on a 5-mile walk. Easy. I could walk the dogs and then go to the local the sports complex in town, which has an indoor pool, and I could go swim laps. And I realized part of the challenge I felt this week was that, and what I had to realize was I was getting a lot of my self-worth and confidence from my ability to be active and to walk all these distances and do all the things like, well, I walked the dogs and I cleaned the house and I cleared the yard of their mess and I did all the laundry, and that's fine. And I do those things because I don't mind doing them. Now, my husband is, of course, working as well, but he does a lot of work from home. And so when I ask him, I just want to make it clear that he helps out too. It's not just me doing it all. He will jump in and he will help out as well. The crazy thought I had about a week ago was oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Because I'm not walking the dogs Monday through Friday. Our son does that, which is amazing. I don't have enough time in my day to come, even though I get an hour for lunch at the moment, I don't have enough time to get home, walk the dogs for 30, 40 minutes, and then get back on time from lunch. I would be rushing around. I wouldn't have any time to relax. I wouldn't have time to eat. And why put myself through that pressure when he's more than willing to walk the dogs for us in the afternoon? Perfect. But my next thought was, well, what am I going to do? What's going to happen if I can't keep walking? Then I'm just going to be sitting all day, and that's not good. And what if the weight comes back on? What if my health issues return because I'm not walking like I used to? And I was so worried about not doing the kinds of walks and movement that I was doing when I had an open schedule that I didn't look for ways around my situation. And what that did is it made me stop and realize that, you know what? Lots of people are in the same situation as me, who work full-time jobs, Monday to Friday or Tuesday to Saturday or whatever it might be. Sometimes they're on their feet all day. Sometimes they work in an office and maybe they're on the phone, or they're doing admin or data entry type roles. Whatever it is, their lunch breaks are going to be similar to mine. They get, maybe a short 10-minute break in the morning and the afternoon, and maybe 40 minutes for lunch. That's it, which is not a lot of time. They've had to learn how to manage household chores by either doing it in the early, evening when they first get home, or asking a partner or spouse to help out if they're at home, or, Saturday, Sunday gets designated for housework or laundry or groceries, whatever it is. But they have to make it work, and they're in the same situation. And I realized that there have been times when I may have said things like, hey man, or not hey man, but hey guys, just, put your shoes on, and if you're able to, just get out for a walk. And I realized that is actually a lot harder to do than it seems, because if you're busy with work every day, 5 or 6 days a week, and you've only got 1 or 2 days that you are off, you're not going to want to try to cram in the gym. You're not going to want to try to cram in, swimming laps at your local pool, unless you live next door to the rec center where you are, and you can literally, and you're a morning person, let's say you get up extra early, you go for a swim, and then you shower and get ready and start your day for work. Maybe that's a possibility, and that might be what you do, which is amazing. But I started to feel guilty because I'm still trying to work out my new routine and schedule so that I don't feel stressed. I'm not overdoing it, and yet I'm still moving. And so I realized, in fact, I do move every day, and I need to stop holding myself to an unrealistic expectation and just see that every kind of movement is good movement. Any kind of movement is good movement. I'm a 10-minute walk, 10 to 15-minute walk from my house to my desk at work, which is amazing. Okay, so I'm already walking 10 or 15 minutes to get to work. And then, of course, I have to do the same 10 to 15-minute walk to come home. Going to work, it's all downhill. And then coming back, it's uphill, which is fine. That it is what it is. And that's actually a good workout every day for my leg muscles. And it's half an hour total, which is nothing. And I have to take my work laptop back and forth every day, so that if something was to happen and the office was closed, we could all still work from home, which makes sense. That's their contingency plans, and it's actually really smart. But that means I've got about 10 to 12 pounds worth of gear in my backpack, on my back every day, going down the hill, and a little bit of resistance training every day. I walk back up the hill, and it's a really steep hill. Okay. It's not like a little hill. It's a pretty steep, significant hill. And yet already I'm moving just going to work and back again. And, at least 2 or 3 days of the week, I've had moments where, I have to pick up a prescription in town, or I forgot something on I forgot to get something that was for groceries. I have to go up into town center and get butter. Or, I forgot to grab lunch meat. Or, hey, we're out of bread. Whatever it is, we need more shampoo. And so that's a good 10 to 15 minute walk into town and back. So 3 days a week. So every day I'm doing these a half an hour of worth of walking in total. And 2 or 3 days a week, I'm also walking on my lunch break. Perfect. I'm moving. And I realized for right now, that's amazing. And so for those of you guys who are in the same situation as me, who are doing similar things, where maybe you're walking to work, or maybe you're not, maybe you have to drive to your workplace, but you're going for walks on your break, up and down the stairs, if you vape or whatever. Maybe you're going up and down the stairs at break time to go stand outside with your colleagues. Maybe you are walking up into your town, wherever. Maybe if you work near town, your town center or high street, or where the shops are, maybe you're walking out to grab yourself lunch every day. You're still moving. And I realized, and I hope for those of you that maybe were thinking, well, maybe I'm not moving enough. My apologies, because first of all, that was never, ever my intention. But I realized as I did it to myself that may be how I came across. Like, oh yeah, you got to get out and walk extra. Start with where you're at. What I'm hoping as I get more and more adjusted to my work schedule, and that means working out or thinking through how I can break up the chore days during the week. So, for example, a couple of days ago, I vacuumed the living room because it needed it. We have a spaniel whose fur sheds like no one's business, and I vacuumed. And then a few days before that, my husband did. We got to stay on top of it, right? We don't want to have like an inch worth of dog fur all over the living room carpet. So we take turns. So it could be a couple of nights a week. We switch up. I might do the vacuuming. He might do the vacuuming, and we trade off. I'm realizing that, for example, when it comes to laundry, if I leave everyone's laundry until the end of the week, so my son's and ours, but any sheets, towels, etc., that's like 5 or 6 loads of laundry. That's a lot of laundry over 2 days. But if I, let's say, Thursday night, I saw that our hamper was getting full, put it all in a bag. Didn't do it Wednesday night. Didn't do it Wednesday night, but Thursday morning when I got up, because I'm usually up around 6, threw a load of washing, and then I chucked it in the dryer before I left for work. And then my husband took it out of the dryer and sorted through, and then we put the stuff away. So it's learning how to plan things out better, chore-wise, household chore-wise. It's about the two of us. We take turns, and we'll pull something out of the freezer the night before, and then we'll work together to cook it up for dinner the next night. Just little things to help make things more easy. And, that kind of brought me into this point of mindfulness of just, I don't want to feel stressed. So like today, it was great. I was up early. My husband and son are away today and tomorrow, just over the weekend, for a gig. And I was here, so I got up and I walked the dogs earlier in the morning, which was nice. And then I realized, actually, you know what? I need to get groceries and a few other things in town. I made a morning of it. Went to the places I needed to, had my list, got all the groceries done, and back into the house, got a few things, some socks and underwear for people who needed it in the household, that type of thing. Took my time, turned out and ended up doing a lot of walking. And then I went to my favorite cafe and had lunch at the cafe. Enjoyed my time out in town, a break from being in the house and or in an office all week, enjoyed my time at the cafe, came home. And so it was me being mindful of the fact that, yes, there were things that needed to happen, but I also didn't need to panic and try to do everything all at once, which is what did happen the first couple of weekends when I was first back at work, because I hadn't done this for years. And so, it's a relearning process. And it's been pretty good. It's working so far. And it's me kind of going, you know what? I don't want to have to do all of this stuff, just me. I work now too. And let me ask for help. And it's been great. It's crazy. My son would have easily walked the dogs if I'd ever asked him in the past. It's not like he would ever say no. But when I was mobile but not yet working, I always felt like I had to be the one to do it. I had to walk them. I had to take care of that task. And it was as though I don't know if I was afraid to relinquish control of it, maybe. But what I realized is that if I want to be in a state of calm and peace, which is definitely where I want to be, if I'm eating nutritionally well, which I am, following this way of eating, if I'm getting my mobility and my movement back, but I am anxious and stressed with a task list of I have to get this done and go here and go there and do that and do this, it's almost like it's counterproductive in that sense. And so all the good that was happening with getting rid of brain fog and healing my conditions and easing my symptoms and reducing my pain, it's almost like completely canceled out by these high levels of anxiety because of all the things that had to happen that I thought I had to do myself. And so I was aware that I needed to de-stress and lower the anxiety and reduce the cortisol and just kind of chill. But I couldn't do that until I was willing to, manage the duties and allow others to participate and help. Allow others, to kind of go, hey, we can help here too. My husband saying, hey, I can do the vacuuming. Oh, okay, cool. Letting my son offer to do the dishes or walk the dogs. And so now there's the other side where I feel like, oh, but these are my jobs, my duties, and they're not mine as much now because now I'm back at work. So letting go of those things, I hope that makes sense. And actually, for my sense of peace and my mindfulness, as far as being mindful of my own limitations and when my SI joint is starting to act up and ache, accepting the fact that it happens, but it's okay. And if I'm not feeling awesome, that's okay. And if I need to step back and go, you know what? I'm getting sore. I need to stop now. That's okay. And that's allowed. And so just embracing that, if you will. And why I threw in the bit about menopause is because on top of all of these things, I've been going through the absolute worst bouts of hot flushes and night sweats over these last several weeks. And, constantly feeling like I've got to put on socks, take off socks, wear a long sleeve t-shirt, put on a t-shirt, put on a jumper, take off a jumper, like constantly I will feel like I'm really, really cold. And then within 5 minutes, my face will be red and I can feel the sweat pouring off under my t-shirt. And I share that because on top of some of the anxiety I was feeling and the stress and my hormones going through a new phase in my life, it's trying to carry on keeping with the same pattern of eating that I've had all this time. And there's moments, especially at work, because everybody brings in biscuits and cookies and muffins and chocolate and goodies, especially now that we're getting close to Christmas. Yay! And And there have been moments where I've honestly found it slightly challenging to just say no thank you. I have, and it's only been but a glimmer of a moment. But these were cravings or literally millisecond cravings that I'd not had for at least 2 or 3 years. And I think that's kind of thrown things in a bit as well. But I've been prepared. I've been taking burger patties in for my lunch. I've actually cut up slices of butter and then wrapped it in foil and just kept it in the fridge at work. And then I've snacked on those at break times. Some decaf coffee, which they keep for us at work, and drinking a lot of hot water. But basically trying to keep busy with learning and training and understanding my role and all those things so that I'm not so focused on the snacks thrown around. So that has actually helped. But I'm making sure to eat well in the morning and keeping lots in my Tupperware container. So, 1.5 burger patties, or I might go into town once or twice a week and grab a jumbo footlong sausage from the sausage guy or whatever it is. But I'm making sure to eat to the point of satiety. And I'm also quickly realizing, and I think maybe it's a hormonal thing and a menopause thing, but I feel like I'm hungrier now than I ever used to be. And I think a lot of that is just because of the hormones as they change. I'm not an expert. I might be wrong there, but I think from what I've read and what I understand, that is pretty common as we go through menopause. We often have massive cravings and we feel hungrier than we did before menopause, which is why it is not uncommon for women to put on weight during menopause, and then our hunger levels and our cravings subside or come down, and then that weight comes off as we get into post menopause of our life. So anyways, yeah, so dealing with that. But I wanted to just share this with you guys and make this video because honestly, whether I was walking to work or not, whether I was struggling to have movement in my day or not, whether I was trying to practice better mindfulness, whether I was dealing with the up and down hormonal fun that is menopause or not, I have managed to stay completely carnivore. I have not given in to any temptations. I've not said once yes or been even tempted to eat any of the baked goods, any of the processed candies and treats on offer, thankfully. But I can totally understand how a lot of people do give in. And so I hope, I don't know. I guess my point was just I have been able to keep carnivore and stay to it. And I think the secret is to make sure I keep not just one burger patty, but 1.5 or 2, like quarter pounder burger patties at work with thick slices of butter and mayonnaise. I find that if I make sure I'm getting plenty of good saturated fat, that helps me stay satiated. And when I stay focused on what I'm supposed to be learning and getting to know other people, I don't give myself a chance to feel the craving for more than a flash moment, and then to just push past it. So hopefully those might be things that help you if those are struggles that you're having in any way. It is not easy. And anybody who has decided to start carnivore or even keto low carb while working full time, especially if you're in an office environment where you'll know everybody brings in cookies and treats and goodies, it's saying, oh, it's Christmas time, help yourself. It's just once, it's just a special treat, and all of that going on. My hat's off to you, truly. Because if I was trying to start this now, I really don't think I could. I doubt I could even get started, and I would find it really hard to stick to it. Absolutely. I guarantee you it would be really hard for me to even stick with it. So for those of you that have started whilst in a work environment and have stuck with it, wow, you guys are, I literally mean this, you guys are my carnivore heroes, because I can see how hard it is as somebody who is well on, like I'm fully fat, fat adapted, I'm transitioned, I'm doing amazing. I think I'm doing really well on carnivore, and I've been at it now for 4.5 years almost. And for me, it was relatively easy when I started. Again, it was the pandemic, so we weren't surrounded outdoors by people eating junk food everywhere we turned, because there was nowhere to go out. And I had a say in the food that came into the house, and I had a say in the foods that I would not eat. So for me, not that it was easy, but it was simplified, and it was relatively easy to start because it was COVID, and I was surrounded only by my family, who were completely supportive. I wasn't surrounded by constant temptation every single day, because I didn't allow that stuff into my house. Whereas when you come into work and all the managers have bought donuts and mince pies and cakes and cookies and chocolates and treats for the whole department or the whole team, it's really hard to walk past and not want to help yourself. So for those of you guys in that situation, wow, I am super impressed. You guys are amazing. Honestly, you guys are super amazing. I doubt I could do it if I was to start now in this environment. I don't know that I could stick with it. So my hat's off to you guys, truly. From what I understand, over the next several months, the hormonal craziness, the constant hot flushes and night sweats and things like that will eventually stop, and I'm looking forward to that time. But it is whatever it's going to be. Although I suspect, because my mother's was quite severe, in many ways I'm lucky, because I know, as bad as mine is to me, compared with how I've heard other women talk about their symptoms and situations, mine could be a whole lot worse. And I'm confident that if I was still on the crazy carbohydrate sugar roller coaster, my symptoms would be even that much more severe. So I still have the symptoms. They're annoying. They're a bit irritating, but I also know they could be a lot worse if I was eating crap still. So I will be thankful for what they are. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. Sorry, guys. This was more, I guess truly I just wanted to share with you sort of what's been happening with me over the past week. And that's basically it. I'm so glad you guys are watching these videos still. It really means so much to me. You guys are so encouraging and so incredibly awesome and supportive. And every time you leave comments, it just makes me smile, warms my heart. And so thank you for them. If you have any questions, or if there's anything you want to ask me, go ahead, drop it in the little comment section, and I will respond back to you. If I don't know an answer, I'll let you know, but I will try to direct you to the right resources or the right people who can help you out further. But I hope that whatever you guys decide to get up to today, November the 30th, that you guys have great days, and you are encouraged, and you enjoy your days, whatever you decide to do. And thank you so much. You guys are the reason why I want to keep making video content. So I may be working now full-time in an office, but I will always make sure to keep providing you guys with updated content every week. So thank you for that. I guess that's it for now. Movement, however you move, whether you get to the gym or not, whether you do long walks or not, whether you simply walk to your office, whether you take walks on your lunch break, whether you walk from your car to the office and back. Maybe you only do a few steps, maybe you do a lot. Whatever kind of movement you do, it's movement. Well done. Mindfulness, being able to accept that you don't have to do everything all the time for everyone else. Slowing down to take care of yourself for your mental health and your physical health is incredibly important. And I realized I had to do a reset because I wasn't looking after myself. I wasn't being mindful of my own needs from a peace and calmness point of view as I needed to. And I had to do a reset in my thinking and what I needed to do versus what I thought I had to do. And yeah, menopause, well, it's a fact of life for all females. We will have it at some point. If you have any stories you'd like to share, or maybe carnivore has helped you, or a low carb keto diet may be helping you with your symptoms, please share with me. Let me know. And again, I know many of you are not in that stage of life yet, or you're guys and you're not going to be. But I hope when I do share little insights or tidbits from my life, maybe it'll be helpful. Maybe you're married to or with somebody who's going through it right now, or someone you care about is going through it or has just gone through it, and you just want to get a better understanding of what it is they've gone through or what they might be going through. And it affects us all a bit differently, but if anything I've shared is helpful in any way, then that is the whole reason why I make the videos. So I hope it helps. Guys, thank you so much. It's a longer one, I know. So thank you for watching all the way to the end. I appreciate it. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. You guys are the best. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your encouragement always. And I will be back next week with another video. All right. That's it for me, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.